Thank you. I will speak first in Russian, and we switch to Sasha in English.
We will do codes. We will switch codes, but we will talk mostly about borrowings, not about switching.
But we switch. Окей. Значит, о чем мы будем говорить сегодня? Мы покажем наши корпусы и наши данные. Конечно, это не будет все. Сначала я покажу корпус, потом как мы аннотируем заимствование и код switching, и потом попробуем посчитать результаты. Там придет арифметика с таблицами. И потом показываем несколько примеров, чтобы были языковые примеры, тоже не только таблицы. Первая таблица показывает корпусы. У нас есть корпус в этом проекте, в академическом проекте, называется ИНЕ. И есть еще корпусы галасанские и Selkupские. И это были финансированы от DFG, Deutsche Forschungsgemeinschaft. А вот тут это независимо от DFG, это город Гамбурга и страница Германия. Как можно искать в этих корпусах? Главный формат это Esmeralda. Esmeralda это софтвер-пакетчик. Это был сделан в Гамбурге 10 или 12 или 20 лет назад. А другая возможность, мы пользуемся платформой Тимофея Архангельского, Чак-корпус. С обой можно пользоваться. Так выглядит наш корпус в Esmeralda платформе. Это в принципе архив языковых ресурсов в Гамбурге. И здесь все данные в формате Esmeralda и XML. Если кто-то хочет скачать корпус, это можно скачать там zugehörige Dateien. В принципе, он говорит по-английски тоже. И выглядит тогда одна транскрипция так. И здесь переводы, это не всегда так много, иногда меньше. Здесь аннотация и там текст. Если это скучно или не хотите, тогда можно пользоваться Чак-корпус. Это, я думаю, что здесь все знают, как этим пользоваться. Это большое-большое спасибо для Тимофея, что он каждый раз делает нам такая возможность. Значит, это наш Selkupский корпус. Первый вариант будет еще больше. И теперь я покажу, что у нас есть в корпусах. Первый корпус галасанский. Галасанский, в принципе, проект уже в конце. Теперь идет и другой проект. Это проект Валентина Гусева, но он делает только словарь, они работают уже с корпусом. Но потихоньку мы все-таки делаем корпус. У нас уже довольно много текстов в корпусе и довольно много предложений и tokens. И видно, что самый первый текст, это только один текст, это 1933 года. Самые большие количество текстов это 2008 года, когда, я думаю, мы тогда встретились. Тогда в феврале был Маша Брихина и Валя Гусев, Волоченко, и в июле были мы втроем с Машей, Шандор, Северини и я, и тогда мы там встретились. Хорошо. Selkupские данные. У нас опубликована одна часть Selkupские данные, вот это первый вариант из архива Кузьмини. Этот архив хранится в Гамбурге. Покупал Евгений Хелимский, и после его смерти остались вот эти тексты там, и мы работаем теперь над этим. Это опубликованный вариант можно найти здесь, и теперь наша сотрудница Маша Брыкина работает на диалекте чая. Видно, что там очень много текстов, но эти тексты очень маленькие. И всего от одного говорящего это Пидогина. Тоже видно, что у нее довольно много слов, но и довольно много русских. Об этом будет Саша показать данные. Долганский корпус мы тоже уже закончили и уже опубликовали в конце сентября, и позавчера в Ча-корпус тоже появился. Там довольно много говорящих. Это не только данные от Крис Дебрица, а Eugenie Stapert дал ее данные тоже. И они вместе работали над этим корпусом. Eugenie был стипендиат у нас 3 месяца. Всего 3. Да. И здесь есть не только фольклорные тексты, а нарративные и conversation тоже. Это ужасно сложно транскрибировать, но как-нибудь получилось. Камасинские тексты мы тоже заканчиваем уже. И первый вариант уже опубликовали, второй вариант придет в конце ноября. В втором варианте есть все, что мы нашли в архиве Тарту. И герой Валентин Гусев транскрибировал все. Почему это желтый? Это желтый, потому что там очень много слов, но и очень много русских. Об этом будет говорить Саша. И как мы аннотируем? В принципе, мы аннотируем только одно заимствование, и сначала мы начали аннотировать только то, что это заимствование или не заимствование, и придет ли это из русского или не придет, или из другого языка, а потом пришло в голову делать вот эту систему шире и шире и шире. Началось это в канасанском, и теперь мы у этого системы, значит, даем из какого языка, если там фонологическая адаптация или нет, если там морфологическая адаптация или нет. И иногда попробуем разбираться с код-свитчинг. Это не всегда получается, но попробуем. Жирный – это самый важный, это всегда аннотируем, если попадет, или не забываем. Как это выглядит? Это выглядит так, что у нас сначала придет какой язык, и потом мы решали взять систему Мейер-Скоттон. И главное, что мы хотели, что это культурные или ядерные заимствования. И потом пришлось еще грамматические, дискурсные и модальные маркеры. Иногда это очень трудно решать, какой-то из них. Это мы колебаемся и не уверены, что эта система останется так, как сегодня. Здесь пример из долганского языка. Если придет такое слово, тогда там стоит уже, что это русское культурное заимствование. Здесь некоторые примеры. Например, у нас ужасно много quantifiers, и каждый это нормально попадется в Южно-Серкупском, Там почти нет другое слово за вес, только вес. Грамматические тоже есть и дискурсные. Надо, это тоже очень часто появляется в южно-серкупском языке и в камасинском тоже. Даже или давай есть в серкупском и в камасинском тоже. Потом посмотрим фонологическую аннотацию по этой системе. Мы просто посмотрим, что там случится. Добавляется ли туда что-нибудь, например, как здесь. Если да, тогда стоит, что это insertion. Меняется ли консонант, например, здесь. Это не ш, а с и так далее. Это другой строчка. Потом посмотрим, как, в каком виде это заимствовано. Есть direct insertion, indirect insertion или paradigm. И замечаем, что случится в этом тексте привет.
Что дальше с этим словом?
Да, этим словом. Например, наш ускола. Это директ, там ничего не случится грамматически, но есть датив, локатив. Или корешки, это передаем, это в плурале. И на всякий случай придет еще один плураль. Хорошо. Это самое трудное решение, что с этим, где заканчивается код-свитчинг и начинается заимствование, это не всегда ясно. Иногда можно решать, например, мы решили, что если там стоят такие слова, как Ангелина Ивановна, тогда это будет для нас заимствование и не код-свитчинг. Или советская власть так вместе, это тоже заимствование. Но это та сфера, где мы еще думаем, и если у вас есть очень хорошая идея, тогда мы будем рады это слушать.
Можно сказать, что иногда и то.
Скажи.
В некоторых случаях там будет разметка и как заимствование, и в том же месте code switching, если мы не уверены.
Это будем показать. Если мы решили, что надо аннотировать код свитчинг, тогда у нас есть такие возможности. Мы посмотрим, что случится, это в предложении или не в предложении, или уже в тексте. И вот один пример, как это аннотировано, например, здесь borrowing type, это значит русский ядерное слово, это paradigm, потому что в русском тоже это множественное число, и он получил поссессивный суффикс какой-то серкупский язык. А здесь тоже много, это там ничего не случится, но в принципе это конструкция русская здесь, тогда это будет отмечен так. Или другой пример, если придет грамматический заимствование, чтобы и B, и А, здесь видно, и там культурные, царь и царицы, и целое предложение и фраз, это кальк из русского. И в этом случае очень интересно, что часто получаются такие предложения, и тогда в первом, здесь он стоит всегда в номинативе, и в втором всегда инструменталис. И вот этот инструменталис, скорее всего, серкупский инструменталис.
Но по русской модели.
По русской модели, да. И как можно искать и найти быстро наш calc? Просто так, туда надо писать calc, и тогда получаем примеры. Да. Что можно найти или искать? Мы можем найти очень быстро вот эти примеры, но после этого надо их сортировать и посмотреть. Мы можем найти очень быстро, из какого языка. У нас есть что-нибудь, например, в Selkupском или в Камасинском. Это важно в ганасанском или в долганском, из какого года. Там можно, например, делать подкорпус, и тогда посмотреть отдельно вот эти подкорпус. А у Selkupов год это не так важно, но очень важно, какой диалект. Северные диалекты ведут себя совсем по-другому, как южные, и между южными тоже есть, или с центральными и южными разницы. Почему не важно у Selkupов? Потому что мы работаем с Кузьминой. Если мы взяли бы туда другие selkupские тексты, тогда год там тоже был бы очень интересный. О чем мы будем говорить сегодня, Саша? Наши эмпирические результаты, что мы узнали пока из этих корпусов. Наш фокус будет на заимствовании, и только иногда будем говорить, и будет Саша говорить о код-свитчинг. И мы не будем очень много говорить о грамматике, но все-таки покажем что-нибудь. Что не очень Не очень просто.
Не очень быстро.
Или не очень быстро. Мы пока не аннотировали этимологию, это было бы возможно. Это значит, что, например, если в ганасанском или, по-моему, в долганском тоже стоит лавка, там перевод магазин. Мы не аннотировали, что это не магазин, слово русский лавка, а это лавка русский. Можно делать когда-нибудь, может быть, будем делать. Когда это будет, не знаем. Надо еще разбираться с такими словами, которые они заимствовали как существительные, но делали из этого глагола. Это тоже трудно, и у нас пока нет лемматизации. Но будет или не будет, не знаю. И есть, конечно, есть ошибки. Это может быть, что есть такие тексты, которые пока не аннотированы. Причина за то, что мы выдумали вот эту систему по пути. В академическом корпусе уже почти выглядит все хорошо. Другой selkupский, селкупский и DFG ганасанский, там есть неаннотированные тексты. Есть такие заимствования, которые не аннотированы. Если человек глассировал и не узнал, что это русский или эвенкийский или долганский слова в другом языке, тогда эти остались неаннотированными. И иногда у нас есть инконсистенция. Один решает, что это модальный, другой решает, это дискурс. Это надо посмотреть и консистент исправлять.
Что-то исправить, да.
Да. И что придет? Теперь придет код-свитчинг с арифметикой. Пожалуйста.
So, as Beata already said, this will be some first findings that we have with this Corpora. No deep insights, probably, and actually what we've got, especially in figures, is more or less expected. So, but we are glad that we observe more or less the expected things with our figures, so we can probably trust them in general. Here, in the tables that I will show you, will see the counts of tokens, of occurrences in the text. Also the number of types, which means number of lexemes, or more exactly number of roots, which gave these number of occurrences in the text. And the mean frequency means just the first divided by the second. And if a loan is used seldom, it can have just one occurrence and it will have a frequency of 1. But if it's something very widely used, like a conjunction E or R, it will have a huge frequency. And here you've got in this column you've got the whole number of occurrences divided or normalized by the size of the corpus, roughly. So we see at once that Ngana-san has the smallest share of borrowings, which is known, but it's nice to see that it's actually all borrowings that have been annotated. Well, which means that it will still grow, the figure will grow, but it will not reach this level anyway. Also because the corpus is the biggest of all, so we do not expect huge variation. If it were a small corpus, then we could say, well, we add as much and we have totally different figures. No, it's just a matter of some annotated parts, but the overall picture will probably remain the same. Kamas has the biggest share of loanwords, which is expected, even though like 13,000 words out of the whole corpus is just Russian speech, which we did not count here. So there are several tapes which have stories or conversation in Russian, and it's also interesting. We did not study it here, but we only counted the Kamas part of the corpus for the figures, and we see that it has a very high rate of loans, which is also expected because Klapte Plotnikova's Kamas was very much a remembered language and not a very actively used language, and it has a huge influence from Russian, but not only from Russian, as we will see later. And we can also see that those loans which are in Kamas are on average much more frequent. So she has less diversity compared, for instance, to Dolgan, which also has lots of occurrences of loan words, but it is much more diverse. There are much more different loans which make up the whole. And well, also Dolgan, a large part of Dolgan is constituted from recordings of recent years, from fully fluent speakers including lots of radio transmissions recorded for the local radio in Taimyr, and these are interviews between Dolgan speakers, so it's very good state of the language. Now, these two subcorpora of Selkup, which Beat already mentioned, you can see that this relatively small portion collected from just one speaker has a very large number of borrowings, also of code switching. But on average, the borrowings are like 4 times more frequent in her subcorpus than in the rest of Selkup. And on the other hand, the two other Selkup corpora are very similar. So let's look at the tables for specific corpora. On Ghana-san, we have mostly we always have mostly Russian borrowings, but in Ghana-san, Dolgan, and Kamas, we also have a noticeable share of other languages. And here it's Evenki, and you can see that although there are only 5 Evenki borrowings, which at least 5 annotated Evenki borrowings, they are way more frequent than the average Russian. So they enter in the core, and we can see this. There are a few very common words that are most likely quite ancient borrowings, and they behave just like native words. And as you can see here, of those 5 Evenki items, 2 are just in the top of the hit list, the top frequent nouns, and the next one is the Russian soldier, and followed by tea and bottle, which is quite symbolic. Interestingly, the verbs are very, very rare as borrowings. So almost all borrowings are nouns or other parts of smaller parts of speech. So you can see that the most frequent verb of the borrowed vocabulary is tea, which means drink tea. But the Russian root is tea, and it has only 16 occurrences in the whole corpus. So maybe there will be more, but it's still very, very small numbers, and for other verbs as well. And we can already see that they are all formed with this transitivizing or verbalizing suffix here, which is productive. And as we will also see in Dolgan, it is applied to nouns as well as to verbs. So you've got play cards and drink tea, which becomes a normal verb. Yeah, here we've got a couple of examples. This one doesn't have this ear suffix, however. now we come to Dolgan, and we see like more than two source languages, but the most significant are still Russian and Evenki. And we also see that the Evenki borrowings are much more frequent in the corpus than all the others. And here we can compare them by classes. So you've got Evenki on the left and Russian on the right, and you can see that, well, if the average frequency here is around 8, the nouns from the core vocabulary, well, not only nouns, and especially these two guys are very frequent. And this is one of the rare cases which we have, at least which we have identified and annotated so far, of grammatical elements, not of lexemes that have been borrowed. So these are two suffixes, or maybe even one suffix, which functions as diminutive or intensifier. On the other hand, in Russian we've got the core borrowings even less frequent than the average, but on the other hand we've got grammatical borrowings, which means especially conjunctions, which are very high, and we've got these two other classes which also become significant. And here you've got the hit lists for Evenki nouns and the Russian nouns, like the friend Dogor is the highest ranking. And interestingly, the same noun also appears in the top of the verbal borrowings with the same strategy. So you've got the same suffix la, which applies to everything, and so you've got the verbs to be friends, to judge, to elect, and to wound, to make a wound. Yeah, two of them are Evenki, two of them are Russians. And you've got these nice голосовая, сдавайла, which so the if the Russian source verb ends in at, then you've got then you take more or less the imperative stem, but regularized imperative like голосовай, not the голосуй. Голосовай, сдавай, таскай. And if it's if it is some other shape of the verbal stem, then you take the infinitive, also infinitive with ся, like кататься. Now Kamas. Here we've got the same story with the Turkic loans. So we do not distinguish between different Turkic languages, mostly because often we just don't know from which Turkic variety this or that word comes from. So we just annotate it most often just as Turkic also. And we see that they are very high ranked also in frequency. But the champions in the Kamas corpus are conjunctions, and they take the 1/3 of the whole number of borrowings. So we see again that the Turkic core borrowings are very high, and for Russian it's grammatical particles. grammatical items, and modal words like nada, which are standardly used instead of anything Kamas that had existed before. And here you've got the top 12 nouns, and you see that like more than half of them are Turkic, like of the upper part. Now the verbs are almost absent as borrowings again. There is one verb, at least one identified, which is quite frequent. It's to sell. And there are a few. This one is not a borrowing. It's a calque actually. So it's a verb like to peel or to take, snimat, which is used for taking a photo, like in Russian snimat. And these three other lines here are not verbal roots, but verbal forms used, as they are not very frequent, but more than once. So we still included them in this list, although it's hard to tell whether they can really be treated as borrowings. But they appear somewhat regularly. Well, there is also this first line, which is blank because it is an item which is not annotated in the corpus, but it's most probably a Turkic verb, and it's the verb to speak. So we will actually have quite a high number of hits for to speak in the corpus, but we are not yet sure about the etymology, and so it's not yet annotated, but there will be two Turkic verbs. Now, the Selkup. This is the comparison between the main corpus and that one speaker subcorpus, and yeah, we can see again the difference between them with lots of conjunctions and lots of quantifiers like весь and каждый. Okay, and now in the remaining time I'll briefly discuss the some examples of borrowings and related to grammar in some way, different way. Well, one thing. I've already mentioned the two evenki suffixes in Dolgan. We don't have any other suffixes, strictly speaking, in other corpora, but we've got these Russian markers for indefinite pronouns, which are quite well used in Selkup and in Kamas. It's the не будь, also this da, which comes from to. But there is one more, which has been noted already by Matveyev in his very first report about having discovered this last speaker of Kamas, and he cites a couple of examples of her speech, and the first one is Jabakter lapom mbi papala, where the first one is that verb to speak, which I just mentioned. Mbi is the regular pronoun, what, and papala is just Russian papala, or что papala. And this is very characteristic, and this occurs more than once in corpus as well. But we also find this in Selkup, куда попало уходит, she goes just anywhere. Yeah? And the pronoun itself is Selkup, and then comes this papal. But there is one very funny example. She used to hit them, her children, with just anything. So with just anything, чем попало. And чем is Selkup, a pronoun in Selkup instrumental case. And then comes попалом, which is the Russian попало with Russian instrumental marker. Чем колотила, чем попалом. And yeah, that's just very funny. Yeah. You've got certainly lots of conjunctions, but also including comparative construction that, like that чем. Аштыхе вообще надраб, чем чундыхе. So I like more reindeer than going on horse. The coordinating markers are always on top of the borrowed conjunctions. This one is not Russian. This is native, but the most frequent are E, sometimes da, but not very often. Mostly E, and sometimes ili. Or ali, yeah. Negation in Selkup. Interestingly, the Russian ne as negation does not appear by itself, but it occurs together with the model nada. So they borrowed both nada and не nada. And also it appears with pronouns for negative pronouns, like something and to form nothing. Another negative marker is нету, which turns into an inflected verb in Selkup, and this is a very nice one, which almost has no Selkup, although the speaker herself is quite fluent. She's very expressive, and she's a good storyteller. But right here you've got a crowding of Russian elements, and on top of it is нетуах, which is нету with for the verbal markers. One thing which appears quite often is double marking of various kinds, but some combination of Russian markers preserved and native markers on top of them. It can appear both, for instance, with parts of speech generally, like an adverb which is additionally marked as adverb, like нарочно, or mimok, or something like that. But it's the same story with some phase constructions, like the verb бросить, which is here used as a phase verb to mark, to cease, to stop doing something, is combined with the converb of the main verb, which would be the normal way in a Selkup construction. The same with давай. You've got this давай in the meaning of start doing something. Also with converb marker on the main verb. Ман давай кариле. But the other davai, which is also regularly encountered, the hortative davai, let's do something, let's go something. It occurs with an optative marker. So the Selkup markers are in place, but the predicate is Russian. And that will be all for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions, we have 10 minutes for questions.
Yes. I just wondered if you are working for synchronic or diachronic purposes, because I think it's important to see if a loan word is nativized or not nativized. And for instance, my teacher, I was looking at his dissertation on the loan words in Kamas, in science, he included many words which were nativized 2,000 years ago already, and it's of no synchronic meaning to distinguish them as loan words. So I think for these languages, it's not only Russian which matters synchronically, and it is important to see those borrowings of which the speakers are conscious, because they know that the Russian word also, and they use it in their some way of broad speech. So, is it really relevant to include in your corpus the ancient learners which are only of etymological importance, or maybe words borrowed to Kamas 100 years ago, but the last speakers didn't know any Turkic language anymore. So for them, these were just simple summary words. They didn't know even that they are not native.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your question. Yes, this is perfectly valid, and in most cases, Russian will be the only recognized foreign element, and I think even many Russian words can be no longer perceived as such, especially those that have undergone some adaptation. But we cannot, although we cannot make the full 2,000 or 6,000 years etymology for all of the items, we probably still want to at least to have it noticed where we can with less effort, because it simply because it can be interesting for comparison between languages, not for the current state of a particular language, but maybe for comparing Kamas and Selkup lexicon or something like that. So yes, for synchronic purposes, we would count much less.
Very interesting. I have a whole number of questions about your solutions, but let me just ask one question. I noticed that sometimes these Russian borrowings or switches to Russian, they are kind of transliteration from Russian orthography. Like Popalam, you write with the O, Nibut you write with a D, which is probably not, but some other cases think that you are transcribing phonetically, like another with a schwa at the end, and even the same word, davai, occurring in two different versions. Why is it this way? First, the sources are different.
Part of our sources are just handwritten field notes, and then we take the transcription of Kuzmina, for instance. Well, Kuzmina actually has.
This is Cyrillic.
Yes, we converted to Latin for the corpus, but we also have this. You can see here. We keep the Cyrillic source in parallel to the transcription that we use, and we simplify a bit, at least in case of Kuzmina, because we omit some phonetic detail. And some other, so if she has a D, then we also have a D. And if, maybe not Kuzmina, but if in another transcription we've got an O in Russian, we will preserve it here as an O, because, because we cannot check it anymore. But sometimes it can also be an O, at least in some positions. And other texts which are just transcribed anew, they are more phonetically transcribed. So we would, at least in some cases, keep it closer to the pronunciation.
You have to decide if it's borrowing or code switching. It's difficult, but since you have both, you have to draw a line somewhere.
Yeah. So the simplest solution for us was that if we see traces of adaptation, then we count it as borrowing. If we see no traces of adaptation, and if the word is only appearing like once or twice, we do not count it as a borrowing. But if later we come across another handful of occurrences, then we say, okay, it's probably a more stable thing. But in some cases, for a single word which occurs in the text and we are not sure, sometimes we can have both lines filled. So it's a possibility.
At some point there was this name Varvara with W.
Yeah.
Why is it W?
Because it was not, it's not pronounced as a V. It's a Varvara. I do not remember for sure for this Selkup story, but yeah, I think it's just a word. But in Kamas, you have a word certainly in most of cases, and even for voiceless fur, you don't often have the fur, but something somehow bilabial.
Natasha, actually, I have plenty of technical questions. Yes, but maybe I will ask just one more theoretical question. Do you have some observations on interspeaker variation? Because it's very simple to estimate on your data how speakers are likely to adopt Russian words.
Well, I'd say we can just see that they are different, but we have not studied it yet. So we cannot say, well, this guy he likes nouns and this guy likes modal particles. We don't have such observations so far, but they are clearly different, and like this Selkup subcorpus shows. Yeah. Sometimes we notice some preferred, some single words that a speaker uses often. Yeah, that certainly exists. Like personal preferences for some word. This jumps up, but we have no systematic observations of this kind.
But is it easy to do with the subcorpus?
Yeah, it's easy to go on in this direction, thankfully. Yeah.
Thank
have three questions. Two demand brief answers. The third one.
Cannot be answered probably.
That we'll discuss it afterwards. But first, you mentioning, citing the conjunctions,
Yeah.
Russian conjunctions. You didn't mention are. Doesn't it occur?
It does. It does. Yeah, it does. It does.
Because,
Yeah. I might have a count somewhere. I can show you. Yeah. But yeah, we've got R. Yeah.
And then Chaya, single speaker.
Fedogina Vera Dmitrievna, I think.
It's the collection of Kuzmina.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
so she cut the last speaker.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you say if we have signs of adaptation. So do you mean only phonetic adaptation? And what other phonetic adaptation? It's clear.
Yeah, but if it is further inflected, for instance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you keep it for borrowing.
Yeah, but well,
Because
it's a technical decision. Yeah. If you have something Selkup attached, then we count it as a borrowing. Yeah.
at once.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We can look at them later, but
Yeah.
at least we think that well, at least this is not just a Russian word which is inserted in a text. It's something has been done to this Russian word. So we.
So they take any Russian verb so freely, verb special and Selkup endings. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, but it's from the theoretical point of view, it's an open question.
Yeah.
We just have this technical solution.
Thank you.
I have a methodological question. How can you annotate for borrowings not from Russian? Like you ask a specialist on Bentley to read all your texts, or how does it work?
Well, for Evenki, we had Chris who knows Evenki a bit, so he could do that at least on first approach. Yeah, and sometimes we have no specialist and we have no markup. Like or we could not have done this within the project, which that part of the project, but we can probably add that later if we have someone who can go through and check the vocabulary.
Okay, but basically, I mean,
Basically, it was
it's like more like some detective criteria that if the person annotating it, the head of the corpus sees that there is maybe this word sounds not that it belongs to this language, and then he would check it in the dictionary.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, this looks like a wonderful database and quite a substantial database. Perhaps you mentioned it in Russian, which I didn't understand, but it must have been a lot of work to transcribe and especially to analyze everything. You must have needed native speakers of all these languages. That must be a lot of work.
Yeah.
How many years did you work on this? How many years?
Well, the Nganasan project began when? Really a long time ago. Like 16 years ago.
Okay.
And the email project started in 2016. So it has been like 3 years and a half. And for Dolgan, for instance, we were happy to have an excellent collaboration with the people from Dudinka, and there were really native speakers transcribing the audio, and that worked just fine. For Kamas, and also now for Edenki, which is forthcoming, which started this year. For Selkup, we worked in Moscow with native speakers. Thanks again to Olga and Helena for connections. So for Northern Selkup, we could work together with native speakers. And yeah, for Central and Southern, we tried more or less the same, but it's more problematic since there are only just one speaker for all non-northern varieties of Selkup, and that's yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Then, if I may, I'll ask very short questions, probably in the similar one. One is you said, I think it was still the example that you probably even gave with Lavka, and you said it's magazine, but we don't count it as a borrow.
No, we do, but we do not mark from which Russian word it comes. So it's
it comes from Russian with Lavka, no?
Yeah, but it's not glossed Lavka. It's probably glossed magazine.
So you don't put magazine as part of this one.
Yeah, so we do not annotate the source word. We just annotate the language.
Okay.
And so far we do not have a lexicon, a searchable lexicon attached to the corpus, which is quite of a technical problem.
The translations attached to the translations.
Yeah, we've got the texts, but we do not have the searchable dictionary where we could say lots of things about every specific word. So it's just the language.
And to finish with a really silly question, in one of the texts, I think, was it Circumpolar or what? But there was the word for soap, I'm sorry, because it was soap. And it was
Sabon.
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't expect French borrowing here, no? It's just coincidence.
No.
Yes?
No, it's not French, I think.
All right. So
It's the same origin as in French. Iranian.
Yeah, I think so. It's
then it's explains something.
yeah. It was in Kamas.
It was in Kamas, yes, exactly. Well, so at least we figured it out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.